first rule in grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport.
Crushing, pinch grip, thick bar, wrists.
If the best guy in the world can't lift 100 pounds on it, I don't give a shit about it.
Welcome to another episode of The Grip Show, everybody. Next guest needs no introduction, but we'll go ahead and give him one anyway. The Vice Grip Viking himself, Ode, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I said I knew when I started the show eventually we'd get a chance to talk, or I'd hoped we would. So I'm glad that it's actually happening now. And yeah, we got a ton of stuff to talk about because you have a huge history in strength sports and all kinds of stuff, grip strength related, world's strongest man, football, all that stuff in the past. We'll get into some of that stuff here in a minute. But for you, originally being from Norway, what was the first thing that kind of caught your eye with strength training? Was it like bodybuilding stuff back then? Was it powerlifting? What was kind of the first thing that you did related to strength training or lifting weights?
I was primarily bodybuilding, but I don't know how I got around to it because there was no even weights in my hometown. There was nothing. I kind of came up on it my own, I guess. So looking at I think I know I started seeing some bodybuilding magazines or like some muscle magazines back in the days. There was a Norwegian one, a Swedish one, and there was, of course, the American one, the American English one, like the Muscle and Fitness and Iron Man. Iron Man was one of my inspiration. That's why I went and bought all the back issues of Iron Man all the way back to 1936. So I had all of those guys and read them from stuff cover to cover. So most of my initial years of training was I was thinking more about physique and strength, but it was just doing everything there was. I tried every odd lift there was, and since I was working out on my own and having my own equipment made, I kind of just improvised and looked at a lot of what the old strongman stars did back in the 30s and 40s and stuff like that. So I think when I first went to a gym, I was very well prepared. When I came to a gym, it was when I was about 16. First time I got to a gym. At that time, I was already very well prepared.
Okay, and you had competed. Is bodybuilding the first thing you competed in? Or I guess you could say, okay.
Yeah, I first time I competed in bodybuilding, I was 17. I got third in Mr. Norway and second in Mr. Scandinavia, and junior division. And but I also was competing in Olympic weightlifting and won my weight division in Olympic weightlifting. My weight and age division.
Okay, yeah. So, kind of going on from some of that strength training stuff, around what time did you end up making that transition and moving over to the States?
I came here to college
Mm-hmm.
Back in 1970. I came here in 1970.
And
but I'd been here.
okay.
First time I came to state actually was in 1968 as a high school exchange student. So I was here for a year, and then for one school year, went back home, finished school in Norway, and then came back to college in 1970.
And was I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you were attending college, you got involved with football and track and field and other sports like that. Was that something you had planned on?
Yes, I not plan on I wanted to continue my bodybuilding career, but when I came to Maryland, the gyms were so poor, and the facilities at the college was much worse than I was used to back at home in Norway. So I started playing football because I felt like I had to have something else to do because the weight training was so poor.
Okay.
So
And
I continued doing it, but the gym was had so little weight that I remember when I was benching, I used every plate in the gym. Excuse me.
And so you kind of for track and field you threw shot put. I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, shot put and discus, something I had done back in Norway too,
Okay.
before I came. So I had some skills in those. But in college, I shot put high school, I shot put and discus, and I high jumped and ran the 100. So I was kind of like half dead track team by myself.
Yeah. And like I said, I know this probably, all happened a little bit slower than we're making it because we're kind of just rushing through some things in an interview. Um,
Yeah.
but you went on from the college football and I believe at least did like some preseason type games or something and had like a short stint in the NFL. What could you kind of
Yes.
explain some of that and kind of how
Yeah.
what that was like?
I actually in college I was scouted by pro scouts, and and they were supposed the Cincinnati Bengals were supposed to sign me and as part of on the draft. But during the draft, I was traveling, so they couldn't get hold of me, so I didn't get drafted. So afterwards, they told me they wanted to sign me anyway. But during that time, there was like a free agent camp in at the Redskins in Washington D.C. They had in Washington, they had sort of like it was like a combine in the back then. There was not the now the combine a kind of common thing to go and try out and show you, but that was like kind of one of the first combines. They had like I think about 500 athletes there trying out for the Redskins, and I only went on the thing saying, well, I want to go and see how it is and see how competitive I am. And I went through went through the combine, and they signed two people, and I was one of the ones that were offered a strong contract. So I said, "Oh, how could you turn down a Redskin?" So that's how I ended up as Redskin, not going to the Bengals. But anyway, I got in long story short. I got injured injured my last track meet. I ran 100 at the conference championship or conference or state championship, and tore my groin really bad. And so I didn't pass physical when the season came. So I moved out to California because I was going to go to grad school. And after being there for a little while, started working. I just decided against the grad school for then, and went back and went and signed as a free agent with the 49ers the following year.
And how did that go? Was that kind of like just or
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
I played. Yeah, I was in the camp and played a few games. Got injured so in the middle of the during the preseason, and didn't get released till into the middle of the season. And by that time, it was too late to get picked up. I was on injured waivers till into the middle of the season. At which point, it was too late to be picked up since I wasn't a known quantity. I didn't come from a big school or anything like that, so
Mhm.
I didn't get picked up, and thought about going in the next year, but decided against it. Went to grad school and decided to finally go to grad school.
Okay, and once you kind of got through school and everything like that, you kind of stuck with the strength training and that kind of stuff. And did you start kind of like running your own business or having your own gym back then? Is that kind
Uh,
of around that time that started?
no,
Oh, no, not yet. Okay.
I initially out of grad school, I started my own real estate company while I was in grad school and continued that for many years. So that was actually in real estate and not in the gym business or anything related to sport. I can continue training, but not for competition, just staying in shape. And but then I had the opportunity to do a gym, and I ended up doing a Gold's Gym. After many years, I started a Gold's Gym, and then slowly transitioned from real estate into gym business, basically over a period of a year, over like from yeah from 85 to 90, I kind of transitioned from the gym, from the real estate business into the gym business.
Okay. And
And
yeah, no, you keep going, Ode. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
yeah, I ended up having a handful of Gold's gyms, including a Gold's Gym in Hawaii, Honolulu. And after a period of time, start selling the gyms off, and ended up at one point to combine or actually merge with the organization that owned the 24-hour fitness. Today what's known today as the 24-hour fitness. That back then it was 24-hour Nautilus, and we merged with them, and I started working with 24-hour fitness. During that period of time, I started competing in went back and started competing in a little bit of powerlifting, and then into strongman.
All right. Yeah. I was gonna say the 90s, I think, is kind of when that
Yeah,
really started to pick up for you. And just you could correct me if I got anything wrong here. I'm just kind of going off some notes.
yeah.
But a podium twice at the America's Strongest Man and 4 times at Norway's Strongest Man. So, and then I know there's some other powerlifting stuff that you were doing at that point in time as well.
No, I probably put him, yeah, correct with the Norway Strongest. America's Strongest. I won it in 1999,
Okay, 99.
and yeah, and then I was in World's Strongest Man 3 times, but never podiumed or
Okay.
even
And that would have been in the early 2000s, right? Oh, because I think
yeah,
World's Strongest Man,
those
like,
2001, 2003, and 2006. I competed.
okay. And with that year at 2006, would that have been, because I think, I don't know if Mark Felix passed the record, but were you the oldest person to compete in World's Strongest Man?
Yes, till this last year
Okay.
when Mark did it.
Okay.
Little older than me. I was 57. I was 56 and he was 57.
Okay. I knew it was pretty close. I wasn't sure if he had retired before that or if he had hung around just long enough to kind
No,
of
yeah,
take
he
it.
hung around enough to take me off, but take me off the title.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, Mark Field was one fantastic athlete.
Oh, absolutely. And just, knowing that you've been around those caliber of athletes and you're at that caliber yourself, um, do you have any like best memories or what are some of your best moments kind of competing in World's Strongest Man back then?
Oh, those are great ones. Particularly on a lot of the other competitions we had. We went, we competed not only in World Strongest Man, we competed in Grand Prix around the world, and we had some great stories about those. Some of them that can't be repeated. But anyway, it was a great time. Of course, I was so much older than everybody else. Not that I felt that I was older, but I was in my 50s, and everybody else were 20s and 30s. So that's what make me feel young, I guess, being with them.
So is that the secret to why you just have so much longevity? Is
I
that
think you
yeah,
compete young competitors, and I think a lot of it is to do with your mind or how you approach it. You know, when as long as your mind is in and you want to do it, or you're motivated and passionate about it, you can do it. It doesn't age doesn't matter much, I think. But it's when you use you lose the passion for training, that kind of training and doing it. That's when you gotta kind of hang it up.
yeah, because
And
it's really tough to be at that level and not enjoy what you're doing because I mean you have to be pushing yourself under some uh, pretty tough conditions and pretty serious weights, and if your head's not in it, I think you're kind of
yeah,
asking for trouble.
yeah, and I think that the majority of the people have a 10-year stint. Some people have more, depending on how they approach it. Some are much less, 4 or 5 years, and other can do it for like 10 years, and others longer than that. Like I, I, I was competing like 20 years in strongman, and of course, Sindronas started competing about the same time I did, and and continue afterward. But he, of course, was 30 years younger. But I competed with Sandronas in the early 2000, many times, multiple times. We went up against each other.
Do you have certain events that you felt like were your best at World's Strongest Man, or just at the highest level of strongman? What kind of events do you think kind of favored you, or did you have the best success with?
Yoke carry and farmers carry. Okay, probably was the more basic ones, but I think I was quite good in stone, so I load stone pretty fast. But that was one of the things we trained a lot, so was quite efficient on stone loading.
Now with I know, like I said, we're skipping over a little bit there because there's a lot of stuff with World's Strongest Man that we could talk about, and we might
Yeah.
circle back and talk about some other competitors in certain moments. Um, but at some point, probably around the World's Strongest Man time frame, we're talking. How did you start doing? I don't know if the first grip strength related things that you hosted was like the LA Fit Expo, but you started to have like the Rolling Thunder and certain grip strength things kind of get brought into competition that you were hosting. Was that at the LA Fit Expo? Is that how that started? Or
No, it's actually started in Hawaii in some of the pro contests I held and hosted in Hawaii, the Beauty and the Beast.
uh-huh.
In Hawaii, I hosted events there, and one of the things working with Iron Mine and Milo Magazine, Randy Strawson, we started introducing the Rolling Thunder, and we used it as a kind of like a PR event the night before the contest to try to draw attention to the competition. We did like a bar competition, a competition for doing Rolling Thunder in the bar the night or day before the competition. And we had a lot of the best guys in the world at the time trying doing it. So there were some great results. Magnus Samuelson and John Bartels from Czech Republic. He had the world record for a while. And he was a former shot putter, and shot putters usually have great hands. Of course,
Yeah, I was gonna say with him. I mean, you're bringing up him. I mean, you've thrown shot put, and then Carl Meyersko is another example, obviously, that kind of comes to everybody's mind when it comes to grip strength.
yeah, it's amazing.
And like a throwing history. So that does seem to be one of the things that has some carryover, or we've at least seen a lot of throwers that have kind of come over and done really well.
Yeah, I think if you don't have strong hands in shot put, you're not going to do much in shot put. But the other thing is that they practice a lot in holding the shot and carrying it and throwing it around. It's going to make strong hands out of it, and they're probably strong in the first place. So
Yeah. Now, so you said you kind of had done the stuff in Hawaii, or that stuff maybe had
yeah,
started all the way
that's what we
back then.
started. Yeah, we
Yeah.
started and he went on, and I think Randy took it to other places as well. I competed I remember competing I won the nationals in the Rolling Thunder back in like I think 2001, 2002 in Miami, and that was held in conjunction with I don't know whether it was held in conjunction. It was some strongman event
And at
in
what point,
Miami.
what point did you start kind of hosting your own events, or kind of becoming the face of hosting events?
Um, well, I started already in Hawaii
Hmm.
with the Beauty and the Beast, and then I was part of uh, World, the Super Series, World's Strongest Man Super Series. I was part of that. I was part of the organizers behind that. We worked with IMG for a few years, and before we started before then, but with world class events out of Sweden, and promoted a series of strongman event every year, and declared a world champion and everything like that. But then for a while, for the year when there was like a rift between World Strongest Man and IFSA, during that period of year, we were we were the exclusive um, suppliers of athletes for the World's Strongest Man, and it was basically our events were the qualifiers.
All right.
And
And okay.
we held events as far, we had the event in Prague at the National Tennis Center in Prague, or the Davis Cup Stadium in Prague. We had it at the Olympic Stadium we had competitions at the Olympic Stadium in Moscow, and ended up having I think our final event we had was at Madison Square Garden in New York City.
No, I mean, that's a super big venue too. I mean, world famous
Yeah,
venue to
yeah.
be at.
And all the Haugen Sun events were ours as well.
When did you really start kind of hosting more grip specific competitions? Can you kind of remember around
Um,
what time that was?
I think we started having some grip competitions, include like a Rolling Thunder Championship, included in the Fit Expo at the LA Fit Expo, which was started in 2004, I would say. Yeah, 2003, 2004, 2004, I think, because I moved to California in 2003. So it would, and since that's on in January, it would have been in 2004 before I was involved. That was the first one that was held in Pasadena, California. And for the next few years, it was held there, and we had started as an exhibition in Strongman, and then when I started having that was just the first year. We just had like six of us. We did like an exhibition, and then next year I put on the contest, and that time we started adding like at some point there in the 2005 2006 probably we had started having world championship in the Rolling Thunder. And we later started added the Axel double over and Axel and so forth. But we didn't change to doing it like a called it arm lifting. The Russians actually called it arm lifting. Interesting, because the people that are doing this the grip stuff in Russia were involved in arm wrestling. So they went from arm wrestling to arm lifting. And I competed, I think as early as 2013, I competed in the arm lifting world championship in Moscow.
And then
And
okay, yeah, you keep going. I was going to ask you about because you kind of as you start to get into that time frame,
yeah,
you're starting to get closer to kind of founding Arm Lifting USA, and I kind of just wanted
yeah,
to get just kind of get your opinion of kind of like what made you decide to kind of get that going and kind of I guess create that or make that an organization, and then that's what you were going to kind of kind of have that as the competition banner, to kind of compete under.
yeah,
Um,
right.
what was
Well,
what's kind of the backstory there?
so yeah, 2013, like it was the first time I did competed like in Russia with arm lifting competition, and they had pretty much the same. They're taking all the events from ours. They're using American equipment and American. They did the double over and axle and the Rolling Thunder, and even had the grippers in it and so forth like that. But so that was 2013. Then I think I don't know what year they had like they went two different ways in Russia too. So we have the arm lifting professional league. They started holding championships in St. Petersburg. We went there, and I think it was 2017, and competed there. Several of us, and on the way when we were there, we started talking. We got to start. We should organize a little better in the U.S. and start doing it. But that's how in 2018, I think we funded the Arm Lifting USA and started the sanctioning contest, trying to formalize the whole thing.
Okay, and after you kind of had that organization formed and kind of started getting competitions rolling with that, Do you feel like that started to bring a lot more attention to grip strength sports and kind of, I guess, organize it? It was always a part of something else. They'd be at expos or maybe part of a strongman thing, like you mentioned, but to kind of stand on its own, is that when you feel like you kind of started seeing the arm lifting side of things kind of stand on its own?
Yes, with and also with weight classes and stuff like that. So it made it more inclusive. Maybe the original contest we had, unless you were lifted at least a lot of high weight, 90, 100 kilo on the Rolling Thunder, you had no chance of being in the, you had no business being in the contest. But now with weight classes and all that stuff, it make it inclusive and get the women involved and so forth like that. So makes the arm lifting very good. And I think Ricardo is taking it and running with it. So that's good, great.
All right. And I guess since we're on the subject, kind of talking about arm lifting and stuff like that, um, how do you feel about the current state of everything? You feel like it's really picked up? You know, you've kind of seen it from, I mean, for decades, you kind of saw it
Yeah.
develop. How do you feel about the sport right now? Looking pretty good or?
I think it's looking pretty good. And I think what what we tried, at least with them when I was in charge of it, what we trying to do is that keep arm lifting as a from separate but related to the grip sports. The
Mhm.
grip sports is great, uh, but the arm lifting should be full lift. It should be actually lifts instead of just touching a bar.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It makes it easy to judge when you have the thing hitting the bar, but it also is a total different event
Yeah, and
when you.
you've competed on both sides as
Oh
well.
yeah,
I
I
mean,
tried
and
both.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you,
I don't particularly like that part, but but anyway, I think it's great. I think grip sport has grown a lot, and so has arm lifting. So, but they're two different things, really. Though same athlete will be good in both. More or less the same athlete will be good, I think.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of carryover. A lot of people do both. I mean, like I said,
Yeah,
you've competed in both. I've competed on both sides as well, and
yeah.
we see a lot of the same faces all the time. So, um, yeah, is there anything that maybe hasn't happened for arm lifting yet that you would like to see in the future moving forward?
Well, if they're going to have a big standalone venues, it has to be. I think that what I'd like to see happen is get some money in it, so that the athletes that are competing at the highest level can make some money. The problem with that when you have a wide sport with multiple weight classes is that you have to spread it on all these weight classes, and so there's nothing left. But at least the Super Series, they're trying to put some money back out to the athletes, and I think that's a good thing. So people are getting more and more dedicated. And you have people that are really specialized in this and are really doing fantastic, like the Carl Myers Golfs and Tank Tokalov and stuff like that. There's a lot of, and Eric Rosanne of Canada, and
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of really, really super good athletes that are dedicated to training for these things. So I wish there were a little bit more money in it, but of course we always wish that.
So you kind of mentioned a few lifters there.
Yeah.
Some real, I mean, real high level guys and stuff like that. I've got to lift with them and kind of see them compete and see what they can do. Um, do you have any other? I don't want to technically use the word favorites, but do you have lifters that other lifters that you could name that you enjoy watching these days? Who kind of gets you excited when you're competing with them, or if you're just a spectator in the crowd and you're watching them lift? Who kind of gets you fired up?
Uh, well, I always like to see Alexei Tukalov here, Tank. He he's been coming to our contest in California. He's lived all over the world because he's part of a diplomatic corps for the Finnish consulate. So he's been living all over the place, and but he also somehow make it to our contest and competed in our championships at LA Fit Expo. And so I always enjoyed seeing him, and he's always come and put on a fantastic performance. And of course, I've been seeing Carl since he came into the sport till now, and he's just now is like he is one of those guys that literally dedicate themselves to what he's going to do. If he's going to do something, he's going to do it really well. So he's trained very specifically for it, and is probably he has probably one of the strongest grips I ever seen, I think.
Yeah, he's really well rounded also. Whether it's
Yeah,
grippers, thick bar, pinch, he like you said, he kind of puts his time in, and
yeah,
he really knows how to train. I've had a few conversations with Carl about training and stuff like that, and it
yeah,
never disappoints. He's always a lot of knowledge and very usually pretty high level stuff. Even though it's very simple, it's very high level.
yeah,
When he
yeah.
talks about training.
He was an outstanding world class shot putter, obviously, and it takes so much dedication to just refining the technique to be able to take that big body with all that strength and put it onto a little 16-pound ball to throw it out there. And that takes a lot of refinement and a lot of technique and a lot of patience. And he takes the same patience in applying it to arm lifting now, so that's why he's so outstanding. I mean, the Saxon bar records have been just going through the roof, you know.
Yeah, him and Martins have kind of gone back and forth.
Yeah.
Or Martins kind of just jumped in recently there and
Yeah, I
pulled a
don't
big
think he even
Saxon.
trained it. He just came and tried it again because he used to
Yeah,
train it with me when we were training together. But he hasn't trained it. But it just shows that the Saxon bar is a really good indicator of absolute strength.
yeah.
And I'm planning to put it in. We are putting it in. We're putting it in a deadlift medley coming up in the strongman competition. We're going to have a Saxon bar
Okay,
because I think
that's a cool idea.
most of the good strongman will also have a strong Saxon bar. It doesn't take much technique. It's just really just a strength, the pure strength thing. So we're going to include it as part of a medley. And Carl went and broke Martin's record just now in the Super Series. It's probably not official yet, but he weighed 142 and a half kilo.
That's like that. It comes out to like 314 pounds or something, right? Close to that, I think. I
Something like that.
don't want to throw you on the
One,
spot and make you do some math,
no,
but
no, one, yeah, well, it'd be a little over three, more than 310 anyway.
yeah.
308 is 140.
Okay, yeah. Um, so I'm going to talk about. I know you have, like I said, we mentioned you competed on both sides of arm lifting and grip sport, and you have some different records on both sides, I believe, whether it be
Yeah.
overall records or something in the weight class or age group. There's a lot of different categories, but you've been competing so long, you have several records. A record that I wanted to mention was, um, I want to say it was at the Arnold, but I know you did a thing where you lifted the Thomas Inch dumbbell as many times as you could in 10 minutes. And I want to say you got up into the 60s. Like, do you remember how many
Yeah.
reps that was?
Oh, yes, of course. The one that you're referring to was at the Arnold's the Rogue record breakers I did.
Yep.
They gave me 10 minutes and I did 63, but I hadn't trained for it, so I was almost died doing it. And
Yeah,
I
that's pretty rough.
literally couldn't lift the 64th rep. I couldn't pick it off the ground. So it was truly 63 reps. That was all I could do. But a year before, at my on my 65th birthday, I did 65 in little over 5 minutes, and I could have continued. I was standing there holding the dumbbell at the end of the when I hit the 65th rep. I was holding it, and I could probably at least do quite a few more, I think.
Yeah. Now
But
with
then,
that.
but that time, I trained for it. I was in really good shape for it, and
Yeah.
I knew I could do it, and I was just when I did it at Arnold's next year, I didn't know if I could get 10 reps out there. I felt the dumbbell backstage, and I said, "Oh my God, this thing's heavy." But then when the audience show up, it's a different thing.
Yeah. Now, when they selected 10 minutes, or did you select 10 minutes? I mean, what kind of made that 10
No,
minute be the benchmark?
it was Todd, Dr. Todd. Thought that you should have 10 minutes to do it.
Okay.
I said, all right, fine. I think I wish it was much shorter because I I wouldn't have been quite as tired. But that was a lot. Yeah. But I think I mean, I obviously there was way more time than you would normally need, but I needed that day. I needed it to get over 60.
So
But yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
no, if that's kind of the official, I guess, record, if you want to say, you said you've done more in training and stuff like that, but on that stage or whatever, that's kind of
Yeah, that's
the time frame and the reps you're
yeah,
holding.
that was the official standard, I guess, at that time. But in no, it wasn't in training. It was fully documented with video and everything.
Yeah.
When I did it the year before my 65th birthday. So I'm going with that. That's 65 times in 5 minutes and I think 23 seconds.
Do you think we'll see anybody try to beat either of those?
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have
They're
anybody
gonna
you
train.
think that would be a good front runner for that? Like, do you have anybody that you think would have a shot at it, or maybe just from seeing the
Oh,
way they train or their endurance?
there are probably many people that can do it. You just have to train for it.
Yeah.
Like somebody suggested maybe what can you? Somebody asked me what can you do with half your body weight in on the Saxon bar? So I tried it and I did 30 reps in I think 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes. So I said, "Oh, this was a lot of fun," but it wasn't difficult to hold on to. It was just I ran out of steam. My posterior chain got totally fried doing that many Romanian deadlifts. Basically, was the
Yeah.
end up doing, because on the Saxon bar you can't even drop it. On the inch dumbbell, every rep I could drop it and go and pick it up. But
Yeah.
you can't do that with the Saxon bar. If you do that with the Saxon bar, you'll never get many reps because you're going to chase it around trying to get that grip on it again. So I'm I don't know if I should say this, but on my 75th birthday next year, I'm planning to do 75 reps on 60 kilo on the Saxon bar.
Okay.
I
I think
think
that's
that
a good goal.
and yeah, in 5 minutes maybe. Give it 5 minutes.
Well, I'm sure everybody's going to
It's a
look
good
forward to
goal.
seeing that.
I think it's a good goal for me to have something to train for, and it will be good because I can train with lighter weights and get a better shape. But
No,
I definitely have to.
that's something I was going to ask you was kind of, you've accomplished so much, you've done so much, and I mean, all different facets of strength sports. What is, what are some of your goals moving forward, or what are some of the things you're kind of looking to still knock off your list?
Well, that's the one that I just mentioned, the Saxon
Yep.
bar for 75 reps. That was a good target for next year. I want to be able to lift I have a challenge dumbbell that's 250 pounds that nobody has actually deadlifted. Mike Burke was able to get it off the ground at 10, maybe 10 inches, but that's it. And nobody else has even been able to get air on it. And
Yeah.
I like to be able to lift that one, but I don't know. I just see I have some things I have to take care of this summer, and then I'll start training again after July. I have some surgery in July, hernia surgeries that I'm gonna take care of
Hmm.
some hernia, so I don't nothing breaks when I'm lifting heavy,
Hmm.
and then I'll start training for next January, and also continue training on the dumbbells. I like lifting. I like deadlifting dumbbells, but I don't know if I can do the 250-pound one. I haven't been able to get air on it yet, so I have I have taken it down. I took it off a ramp and kind of slowly moved it down slowly. I guess slow is I tried to slow it down, put it that way.
Yeah. You mentioned Mike Burke there, who has one of the strongest grips I think we've still ever seen.
Yeah.
Do you stay in touch with Mike at all, or do you
No, I
know?
have no contact with him. No, I don't. I haven't heard from him, and I haven't tried to get hold of him. But I did a few years ago try to get hold of him, trying to get him to come down and compete in the arm lifting, but didn't hear anything back, so I haven't tried since. But he is a great guy, great guy, a great athlete, and unbelievable grip strength. He would be able to give Carl training. If he trained for it, he would be able to give Carl a run for his money.
It would be interesting to see, because one of my favorite videos of his, it's very rare that you I guess you won't call it a fail, but where a lift is incomplete. But is Mike Burke when he tried to clean the double-inch dumbbells,
Yeah.
and he got pretty close. I mean,
Oh yeah.
there's a few times he was right there.
I'm sure if you if you had a chance to train on it, he would be able to do that.
Do you? I mean, I'm sure we'll probably see it at some point. It's such a hard feat to do. Um, do you think there's anybody that's kind of in the running for that now that could pull it off? I mean, Mike Burke came
Oh,
pretty close, but
yeah, I think that Carl, if he decided that's what he wanted to do, he can do it.
okay, it'd be interesting to
Yeah.
see. Yeah,
And I gotta get Carl to try the 250-pound dumbbell too, because nobody else,
yeah.
Martins, me, uh, Tank, Brian Shaw, nobody has been able to get a. I think even Felix had tried it at one point.
Yeah.
A lot of people tried that, but nobody could get it moving it, other than Burke.
What about Will Giuliani? Did he break it off the ground?
No.
I'm just messing with you. I was talking to Will. I was talking to Will not too long ago, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw him in there. I know he's out there training sometimes and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
But
yeah. He comes out there. I don't think he's tried that dumbbell.
yeah, no, it sounds like a crazy one. But yeah, it would be nice to get Carl out there and see what
Yeah, I want to get
what
Carl
he
to
could
do
do.
that. I'm gonna invite him up on a weekend and we can do it.
And while
Maybe
we're on the same subject of you're kind of talking about like the double inch clean attempt by Mike Burke and some of that stuff. Now, this could kind of be, I mean, world's strongest man. This could be arm lifting, grip sport in general. Just in your opinion, what are some of the lifts that stand out to you as some of the best lifts you've ever witnessed in person?
Ryan's coming up. Ryan's coming right from.
I think one of the things that come to mind is like Poundstone's doing that heavy natural stone up in Fortimus in Canada.
Mhm.
Nobody else could get it up. He not only he lapped it and put it onto the table, and that was just amazing. One of the amazing feats of strength. Big Z had no chance at it. No, nobody else had even a chance at it. That was very impressive. Also, I remember. I don't know if you remember who I'm talking about. It's a turtle, Chad Smith.
I feel like I've heard the
Called
name, but I don't know a
Turtle.
whole lot.
We call him Turtle, um, because you could have him walk across, the course, and he would be pretty slow. He looked like a slow guy, but he put a heavy weight on this back, and the guy was so fast, it was unbelievable. And I remember down in South America somewhere, we had Dominican Republic. We had a contest, and we ended up doing car walk in a sand, like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And I remember I consider myself very good at yoke and car walk. We not do that much different, and it was very hard, and I didn't finish, and neither did anybody else. I think Sven Carlson was there, Magnus Bear was competing. A lot of top names were there. Then here comes Tuttle. He put that car on his back and he ran the course like there was nothing.
Wow.
That was super impressive. I tell you that. I think anybody that was there considered that one of the greatest feats, because that car was heavy and the sand was loose. It was very difficult, and it was in the middle of the night after we had been competing all the evening.
Yeah, that's one of those things with like World's Strongest Man. Sometimes you guys have to like do or some competitions, in general, you just the schedules are kind of crazy, especially when you're dealing with different time zones and stuff like that. And you're kind
Yeah.
of at the mercy of the scheduling, right?
Yeah. Well, in this case, it was. I think there was competition was started late, and it was a lot of people. There were like 5,000 people in the stands. It was a big audience, stuff like that. But by the time we were in the final events, there was nobody left because everybody got tired, got home. That was because they had like a throwing event in the middle of a keg for height or something like that in the middle of it. It took forever.
Now, with some of those being kind of like contest lifts that we're mentioning there, or things that you've seen kind of that have been documented, this is kind of an interesting question. Is there any feat of strength? And we could kind of like lean it towards grip strength, but just any strength in general, really, just an impressive feat of strength that you witnessed, but like wasn't filmed or no one really got to see, that you kind of wish like, man, like you just saw it happen, but maybe no one really filmed it or noticed it like that, and it's kind of unknown to other people.
Oh, okay. So it's really cool.
Well, it would be the Mike Burke lifting the dumbbell.
Yeah.
There's nobody else. I had everybody that been around that I know has any kind of, they can lift the inch and can lift some other dumbbells trying it, but nobody been able to do it. So, and it wasn't documented, but he did lift it up, mid chin. But I can't think of anything else right now.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to check because sometimes there's those moments where somebody grabs a hold of something and no one's really paying attention, and then you kind of take a look and you're like, wait a minute, did he just lift that or did that just happen? And then no one's really filming it or something, all the time. So sometimes those moments happen and they just kind of get lost in time a little bit.
Yeah. There probably are some there. There may be some out there, but I don't. Not anything I can think of right now.
So I think that's going to be easier.
Okay, well, we've been going for a pretty good portion of time, and I got you to answer some pretty good questions. Is there anything else you'd like to make mention of, or I guess in regards to grip strength, anything that you would like the audience to kind of know or hear?
Well, I think one of the things that training arm lifting or doing the lift using arm lifting implements like the axle and rolling thunders and Saxon bars and all that stuff like that is a way of prolonging your strength career. If you're a strength athlete and you're a power lifter or bodybuilder or anything like this is kind of a gratifying thing. You can actually improve as you get older, and you can continue doing it, and you can lift and stay in shape and have a reason to stay in shape. I think I would encourage people to do that. It's a great drop-off sport.
Yeah, and like I said, you've been definitely leading by example over the years because you've done about everything you can strength-wise, and then here you are still pretty much approaching like mid-70s, and you're still lifting and still pulling things, right up there with the best of them. So I guess one thing I could just kind of add in, Ode, is that, a lot of people, we all consider you kind of a strength legend. Everybody kind of looks up to you, know what I mean? Especially in the grip strength world, you're just very known and very respected. And that's one thing I've really tried to set out with this show, is just trying to capture these moments and talk to some of the best lifters and just get knowledge and history and kind of document that history and just stuff like that. So yeah, just want to thank you for taking the time and just kind of giving us some of those stories and some of that personal history and all of that. Just it means a lot to me, and it means a lot to all the people that are going to be watching and listening as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate talking to you, and I'll see you at Olympia.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm sure we'll be running into each other at some point in time here.
Yeah,
so
cool. All righty.
So all right,
talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
Bye now. Bye.